As I was introduced, my name is Diana Cawley and I'm the Global Head of Retail for Chale Worldwide. And I want to talk to you today about quite a contentious issue, which is there still a shopper state of mind? Or has the world changed so much now that there is no longer a shopper state of mind? And this is the thing that we fundamentally believe at Chale at the moment. So I think, and thank you for Rajesh's speech, which was a great introduction, it's a new era and a new balance, and it demands a new formula. Retail has changed and is changing much, much faster than it ever was before. So the speed has grown really, really quickly, and this is now a significant growth area, and the biggest battleground for retailers is shopper marketing. So I think what I want to talk to you about today is to leave you with a couple of thoughts. Three things for me that are really, really important. I've been doing shopper and retail marketing now for a long, long time. And I grew up in the age where retail and shopper marketing were very straightforward. They were a path to purchase that ended up with a transaction or a point of sale within a store. So that's the first point that I want to raise with you. Secondly, is that brands are global, and I still believe that retailers, even though they may have a global footprint, they're local. And I want to talk to you about the relevance of local and how important that is. And finally, we discussed it in the first presentation, which is the changing nature of retail. You no longer, which was only very shortly ago, you went into a store and you bought something, the point of transaction, where you actually buy, is often no longer in the store. So these three things are changing all the time, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So how are shoppers shopping today? Shoppers' needs haven't changed. So when we talk about shopper state of mind, it's not the needs that have changed, the needs are exactly the same. So people need a product, they need to make sure it's right for them. They want to know what they're going to get. They want to know they're paying the right price. They research it, they look for it, they find it, they buy it, and they make sure that they like it. So all these things, the needs haven't changed, but how they shop has. And when I come back to my point about global versus local, everybody shops differently according to their local environment. So I don't know whether any of you recognize this. This is Tesco Home Plus in Seoul. This was an award winner in 2010. So not that long ago, this was a revolutionary piece of work. It was a Chale piece of work. An advertising agency came up with an amazing shopper insight as to how shoppers shopped. So the insight behind this was all about having no time. People in Seoul worked long, long hours and long days. And what that meant was that when they went home on the subway, that was a perfect place to shop. And a perfect way to do that was through their mobile phone. In the last 3 years, we've seen every other retail grocery chain go through this way of shopping, and it's become a very normal way of shopping for all of us. But that wasn't that long ago. So all of these things here are global ways of shopping throughout most of the major countries of the world. So let's start with the fundamentals. What is shopper marketing? And we have, with our clients and at Chale, lots and lots of debates about this because everybody sees it very, very differently. And I will come on to how I think shopper marketing is. But basically, we talk about the shopper and the consumer. And for me, when I was first starting in shopper marketing, the consumer was the person who consumed the product, the shopper was the person who bought the product. So the shopper was not always the consumer. And we talked about context and we talked about mindset. People were in a shopper mindset. If they wanted to buy a soft drink, their mindset changed depending on whether they were thirsty and it was a hot day, or they were stocking up for the family and buying it as a grocery product for the pantry. But at the end of the day, what's changed now is, if you don't have a shopper, you don't have a consumer. So we have to make sure that we're all in the same place, and I think this shopper and consumer world is merging into one because we never know when the consumer is a shopper and when the shopper is a consumer. It used to be so easy. When they came into the store, they were obviously a shopper because they were shopping. But now with the internet, with smartphones, with tablets, they can be a consumer and a shopper at the same, they can change completely. And we need to make sure that we know when that change is taking place. And the biggest driver, we've talked about it just before, is the tablet, the PC, but mobile is the big thing that's changing everything. So all of these words here are words that you will have come across. There's about 55 on this page, and these are all words that within the marketing world we use all the time. So NFC, social shopping, contextual retailing, ROPO, all these things are changing all the time how we shop. And it is mind-boggling because words come up every month that I haven't heard about. All of us in the retail space, there's new terminology. So let's look at Korea. I'm actually based in Seoul, so it's my home country, Seoul, at the moment. And Seoul's a really, really interesting place, and more retailers are coming to Seoul because Korea is seen to be leading edge in retail. And the reason why it's leading edge is because of the situation and the setup there. So let's talk a bit about retailing in Seoul. The sales growth, 1.9% last year, it's not particularly high. For me, who comes from Europe, 1.9% is very, very good. But I'm sure for some of the rest of you in Asia, 1.9% isn't that high. And let's just go back to my point on global and local. You have to understand the local context of why people shop and how they shop. So in Seoul, it's a densely populated urban space. 50% of the population of Korea, which is about 50 million, live within the 25-mile radius of Seoul. So half of all the people in Korea live within the Seoul conurbation. And everybody works long working days, as they do in many countries, but Korea is renowned for its long working days. Everybody works till very late in the evening. And what that means is it gives two very good reasons for e-commerce and mobile commerce to be incredibly popular, because it's quick, it's convenient, and if the stores are closed, it's accessible. So these are two factors that change how people shop. It's the home of technology manufacturing giants, so Samsung, LG, it really is. The technology there is amazing. And this means that smartphones, early adopters of smartphones, are very prevalent in Korea. It has the fastest download speed in the world. So it is absolutely incredible. You can download anything, anywhere in Seoul, on the metro. You're in Wi-Fi areas at all time. Every home has internet, broadband piped to it. It's accessible everywhere. And from my actual home country, which is England, a lot of people in England still can't get a mobile phone signal. So the difference is huge when you talk about accessibility to internet and broadband. 41 million internet users, that's actually over 80% of the population, so the penetration is very, very high, and the penetration of smartphones is very high as well. So over 70% penetration of smartphones. And what that gives is a very connected, very fast-moving, very urbanly dense retail environment for us to work within. Last year, 2012, Koreans spent 285 billion in retail. 10.5% of that was online. So 10.5% is quite high for online shopping. It's on the high side, but it's quite a small marketplace. 39 million smartphone users, so people talk a lot about how technology enabled Korea is, but there aren't that many of us living there when you look at the huge, vast countries of Asia, India and China obviously being the two. Interestingly, more Korean men shop than Korean women with their smartphone. 15.5% of Korean men shop on their smartphone. And when I speak to my colleagues, they say it's because the men are more impatient than the women, so they want their shopping instantly to happen, so therefore they shop. It's convenient and it's instant. 58% of Koreans shop and sell online, so they're using it as a very familiar tool. That was to set the scene. And when you then look at retail, let's come on to India, because obviously what I'm trying to look at here is understanding the local situation is so, so important. So here we have 23 cities with over 1 million people. In China, there's 660 cities with over 1 million people. So this is a vast population spread across a vast country, but not in these huge conurbations like we have comparing it to Seoul.